All right, let's see if we are up and running this morning. We're probably going to be on a title plate for episode 267. And hey, all right, looks like we just went live. So mic check come through. For episode check. 267. All right, cool. And then we'll drop this down here so that you don't have to hear me hearing me. I'm going to post on the social media here real quick while I do an intro. So give me a hot second here to get my cut paste up and running, and then I'll say, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish online, and I'm currently making an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It's called Crystals of Mabar. It is, hold on, making sure everything is looking pretty here. It's for 4 to 5 characters, a level 7 or 8, and it occurs in the Carnwood of Karnath on the continent of Corvair in the Eberron setting. Eberron came out in 2004. Happy 20th anniversary. I've been playing it since 2006. Let me get my window set up here, and I've been DMing since 87. Like, subscribe, bell icon to get notifications. Thanks a lot for checking this stuff out with me. I'm on the X Twitter platform. If you are on the X Twitter platform, I'm at Phil Kearney. You can join me there if you wish. And DMing since 87 and Eberron since 2006. Been creating content on DMsGuild since 2017. This is the book cover. It will appear on DMsGuild front page when it goes live. I'm hoping in September, but we'll see if that happens or not. All we can do is hope. So right now I'm working on an environment map. We have he checked out yesterday's stream. We broke this down real good. But I'm going to take just another hot second here to just peel it all apart for you. Let's see. Chunk. Counters, puddles. Okay, so I'm calling these puddles right now, and so they're separate. They're separate decals basically that you can stick on the ground, and this entrance here is also basically just like another image that you layer over it, and here's the playmat space. It's a 20 by 20 square that fills in the area around it. And on top of that, you can see we have all these little tokens, environmental token things that we've been building. These are different hazards and condition effects that will affect creatures that traverse those spaces on the map. And since they're tokens, we provide a sheet of them. You can cut them out if you're at the kitchen table in black and white, or if you're on a virtual tabletop like I use, Roll20. Then you can, they're little 1 square tokens that you just drop onto the map anywhere that you want to build some interest. So we're making it all separate assets so that we can just hand you an asset pack to build maps with. But we're building maps ourselves, but then we're giving you all the components to build maps for yourself so that you can make as many of these, since the entire environment inside of the manifest zone, there's a convergence between the manifest zone, called the manifest zone. It happens between Eberron and the plane of undeath called Mabar. So when this Mabar manifest zone occurs, it's being created unnaturally by a ritual using an artifact created in the plane of Mabar. So it's bringing its plane to itself to basically create this artificial overlap zone. When two planes of existence overlap each other, they co-terminate, which means they both exist in each other's reality. So that causes the necrotic energy of Mabar to entropy all of the forest in the Carnwood where this manifest zone is at. And it's like a 5-mile radius at this point. So it's pretty big. And there's a fog, like a miasma, that fills the environment. So you can only see 40 feet away. So you can have any number of little vignettes like this in the map that are just strewn across this 5-mile radius zone, and you won't really be able to see it until you're up on it. So the DM can just have you wandering randomly, and the random encounters are just basically you just bump into them. So, and this is one of the random encounter maps. It's a sinkhole. There was a monument here. It's dilapidated over time. It's been hundreds of years in the forest getting chewed on. And so now this sinkhole in the middle opens up to what is a mass grave. This is a living grave, which is a sort of ooze monster. And here, I'm gonna make sure it sits inside of its space more properly. Good. And that basically forms a mass of dead bodies, and then they're animated. So occasionally a new body will peel out of this mass, and then you can see it's only a 7-foot reach up to the edge here, so it's easily within climbing rules of normal D&D. It climbs out of the sinkhole, and then it runs across the landscape. The undead aren't affected by the fog. They can see right through it. They're undead themselves. They are of Mabar. So they aren't affected by the environmental hazards or environment condition limitations that us mortals are placed on. So Warforged included. So you can just drop these type of maps anywhere you want. We're making a set of maps, different maps, all the tools that go along with it, to basically lead the team from significant plot point to plot point in the environment, and through any number of impromptu hazards along the way for the team to deal with. So let's see. Where in the process am I right now? I'm making tokens, hazard tokens, environmental tokens. These things, we're trying to make sure that they stand out against the background. So like this ferric ivy that we created yesterday's episode. That was a great episode. Definitely go check that out, because we basically built a recurring pattern that hold on, I got a frog in my throat, so sincere apologies about that. But let me take this and free transform. There, like that. So you can see like the corners and the midpoints here have connectors. So I can connect here, and it streams through here, and then it connects here, and it strews through here, connects here, strews through here. Connect. That's a misconnection, but it's close enough. But connect here as well, and then connect here, connect here. It's ivy. It's ivy. It just keeps flowing and going. So that's how we built the tile to do so as well. If I make the background go away, we can more easily see. These are the florets Mabar. They are basically daffodils. They just naturally grow out of the soil in the plain of Mabar. So they're chilling. That's good. This is Vulpina Lotharia. That is creates a stink cloud poison effect, and it sits in its tile. So it's not as cool of a tile as these are. What I'm thinking I want to do is get rid of filling the tile and instead make little islands inside the tile in a sort of randomized effect like this is. So it doesn't have these obvious gaps at the corners that sets it out as being tiles. I'd love to have a continuous flow effect like this if I can. So I think I want to revisit these tokens. There we go. There's my pen. I'm going to take a sip of water while we do this. We have just about 50 minutes this morning to mess around with some tokens. So that's what we're going to do. Boy, that's a lot of ivy. Shut that one down. Let's go down, and we're going to mess around with, let's mess with the florets. Here's an image of the florets. See, they're like little dandelions of necrotic dandelions. Is probably the best way of expressing that. So that's how the floret sits on its own, and I think I want to modify that. Breaking these things up in little clusters, like little mini clusters like this, should make it easier for me to rotate and create a continuous effect. Just like with the vine here, corner, mid, corner, mid, corner. This is tiling. It's just basic tiling principles. If you've ever done any like video game, like 64-bit art or anything. So it's the same tiling effect. Back, I want to say, Jesus, I want to say back in 2004, I got commissioned by a wood carver that was getting into laser cutting wood patterns in the wood. He commissioned me to make hexagon land tiles and resource cards for Settlers of Catan. He just wanted to make a wood block custom version of it, and so he hired me to make the tiles. They had to be they had to make sense from any when you look at them. They had to make sense in any direction, and like the water, like he had the water expansion for like sea trade. So all the ocean tiles had to flow smoothly into each other, both top, bottom, left, and right. So that's where I learned a lot of the tiling principles that I utilize in these techniques that we're using. That was a ton of fun. Maybe I'll find those and share those with peeps. See, that's filling the space, but it feels super square. See, it's square in nature. So when you look at it, it just looks like it's sitting in a square tile, and that's the trick, to put it in a square tile and make it look like it's not sitting in a square tile. So I have to both respect the confines of the environment while attempting to ignore the fact that it exists. That's the trick. So what I need to do is reduce the density of dots. Let's grab this. put a piece over there. I can put some pieces down here. I'm going to pull this one back. Like have a clump here. So the space I have between these clusters, I want to be roughly the same space that'll be between clusters when I tile them next to each other. Kind of like these mushrooms, similar effect. Move this over. Here. Okay, well, I mean, all I can really do is copy. Let's take this and bring it over here. We're gonna lay down a few patterns here. Just drop a couple on the board just to see how they mesh together. And then from there, we'll be able to free transform, vertical, that. So it's obviously filling the spaces. There's decent distribution between each mass. It still feels unnatural because it's like the volume is filling the space. It's not quite how I want it. I think what I want is I can probably afford. I kind of like how that one looks. Maybe instead we do this. We'll disintegrate some of this. And we'll bring it over here. To connect here. And I like that corner piece, but I want it gone so it's not such a recurring pattern. Put that a little bit off point here. That is my 20-minute timer to make sure I'm not lost in any kind of tangents. It's a chance to wake me up from my stupor. Stupor awakened. I am stupor awake. That sits inside of a square tile, but it feels less like it's a square tile now, you know? So I'm going to adjust that. So let's take this one. Whole effect being created here. I don't necessarily know if I like that or not. I think this one demonstrates it best. Maybe if I do like this, bring that in a touch. Something's going on in my world. Hold on. That might be the way. Let's see if that sits prettier. Transform. Transform 180. Transform this way. Do we have the same recurring gap issue? A bit. Still there a bit. Like if I take away the grid, it looks like it's on a grid, right? That's the problem. That it's that degree of separation that we need to resolve. So let's see. This one feels like it's the best representative. What I want to do is get this up to a midpoint. Do like that. Let's see what. Let's take that as a pattern. Copy paste. Transform. Transform 180. There, how's that look without the grid? Still looks like it's in a grid shape. It's because there is no direct point in the center mass. I think that's the problem. So let's take this clump here. Let's see if we can just rotate that. Ooh, this might work. It takes a little while, but maybe we found it. And this one, I should have like right up on the edge. Transform. Right up on the edge. That should be good. And this. Not so much right up on the edge. No, yeah, we're gonna put it on the edge just like that. Oh, this is creating some interesting topography. I bet this is gonna work. So, bop, bop, bop. Copy, paste. Free transform. Bop, bop, bop. Flip 180. Look, this, okay, so the spaces that are between the squares, like this and this, this and this, there is a common, it looks like a good scaling distance. So let's see if we get rid of the grid. See, okay, so it's more difficult to confirm exactly where the gaps are at. Like if I were to yeah, it fits inside the square, but like inside of the square in the square, there's more. Okay, this works. This is good. So this should be a decent base template like that. It's not thick, but it helps. Yeah, I think this should work out just fine. Cool. All right, so let's drop that out of the test environment, delete that, get our grid back. Delete that. And now we have color that we need to resolve. So we're gonna make little patches like this. Start getting back into chess. I'm gonna thank Eberron Disney for putting chess stuff on his Discord, because I used to play chess all the time and I stopped. My vision's too bad at the point that reading books isn't fun anymore. I used to be a voracious reader, just consuming books, like a 400 novel in a day, no problem. But as my vision's gotten worse over time, it's less and less fun. Audiobooks are okay, but they take longer. Like a 320-page novel or 300-page novel is like an 8-hour investment. So it takes a little longer to listen to a book than it did to read it. That's not a big problem overall. But the point is that if you're reading, you're engaging your brain in different ways. And I am no longer engaging my brain that way. So I needed something. I knew I needed something. And lo and behold, nature hath provided the online chess. I only have like a 1500 elo. It's god awful. But that's only because I haven't played chess like in 20 years. Like seriously, it's been like 20 years since I played chess. Jesus. So 1500 ELA after 20 years, that's not so horrible. It's just the ability to be patient and to see things and to make the pieces move. I've noticed I was attempting a 1600 ELO on the computer. I started at 600 and I basically just, when I'd win 2 matches without any mistakes, like with no takebacks, if I could win 2 matches in a row with no takebacks, then I would promote myself to the next 100 blocks, 600, 700, etc. And I'm now at 1600, and I am finding that I am too fast to assess risk on the page for the level of organization that 1600 plus ELO has. So I have to be more methodical, and it's fascinating to see the different, like over the past 2 days, I've climbed up like that, and it's fun to see in such a short period of time how differently the AI actually thinks, like how it coordinates its movement. And at this elo where I'm at now, it's every move that it's making is just naturally folding into the next piece of strategy. And it feels less like I'm moving pieces, and it feels more like I am coordinating the shape of the environment on the board, and it's really fucking cool to see that. So I mean, it's a low rank elo, which means that humans can think this way inside of the game space, and it's probably a matter of just training, of being able to see it. I think just naturally, like high aptitude people that have a natural aptitude for this sort of thing can probably see that movement pattern easier, and makes it easier for them to strategize. But you still have to train. You still have to study what you're doing. And there's a slew of great YouTube channels that have all sorts of fun little ideas and thoughts, and like here's how this trap got created. Can you see where the trap began? And can you see how long it took for the opponent to notice that the trap was being created? So I watched a lot of that stuff, a lot of stuff about building traps inside of chess, and it feels like a logic course. Like if you took like mathematics logic, it's about like statistics and how to build models, like how to extrapolate from algebra. Sentence structuring, like all like for example, attorneys in law in court, all they're doing is building algebraic equations that they have they know how to solve the formula of the conversation that they're having, and the they have all the variables and all of the absolutes, and they're trying to solve for x, and x is whatever point they're trying to make. So if you can create a strong equation using the components of information that are available, and you can create a good algebraic equation of your hands are bloody, there's handprints on the victim, they match your hands, ergo you are the person that put your bloody hands on that person. Like whatever. It's a horrible example because it's improv. So, but the point stands. That's what lawyers do. They build sentence structure patterns, and it's algebra. So when would I ever use algebra? Well, it depends on if you're a menial worker that doesn't have to think for a living. You don't have to use algebra ever. But the higher level you get, the more you have to be able to solve variables like that, or to be able to identify what variables even are in the equation of whatever problem you're dealing with. I am risking making this a square again, so I have to be careful about these little added blips that I'm putting in. They run a risk of destroying the integrity of the of this piece. I'm going to use an eraser. I'm going to drop it down to like 20% so I can tap on it a lot to create these little breaks in the pattern. This might help the pattern, it might ruin it. We won't know until we retile it. So that's a decent space to be in here. I'm going to put another double right here because my muse told me to. Cool. All right, so let's duplicate these. Merge those layers. Test. Let's go back over here to our test environment. Ooh, my tummy hungry. Last month I was 235 pounds, and I'm down to 223. So I'd say the ketosis that I've been operating under is working. Free transform. Ketosis is really good compared to, like, say, one meal a day, because you get to have more than one meal a day while you do it. The biggest problem I've been having is, since I now work remotely, is being able to contend with the with food being in my house all the time. Well, back when I first lost 100 pounds, it was because I was going into an office downtown. So as long as I just didn't eat in the morning and didn't bring any food with me, I could assure I wouldn't have a meal until lunchtime, and then I wouldn't have a meal until the next day. So it was really easy to sustain that. But now that I have nowhere, I'd have to keep my fridge empty all the time. I'm just not going to do that. So I found another way. Let's see, that feels pretty natural. That would actually make a really cool forest tile as well. Like shrubbery, tree copses. And the team would wander through paths like this. Like these could be hedges that block visibility, so you want to navigate around these. This would be a really, really cool outdoor dungeon space. I like how that sits. That's neat. And it's chaotic enough that it's not obvious immediately that it's just a recurring pattern. I don't like... I don't like how much of a line that is that leads into nothing, so... If I knock out the core, then it's going to create a hollow space in the middle of the tile, and I do not want that. So it's creating that like X in the middle. I don't know if that's gonna... Yeah, see, now it looks too much like a spiral. I mean, granted, I did just a proper rotation. I didn't actually take effort to like chaos the thing up. So let's chaos the thing up. Grid back on. It's close. I feel like it's close. Horizontal. Let's do that. See, you can see that there's a pattern here of blank lines. But then it goes away down here, it gets broken up. So this is probably actually a really good pattern. That seems chaotic enough that it's not necessarily obvious where points of contact are. I think this is good. I think this is going to be okay. It still creates a square in the end. So let's... what the fuck? Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. I like how that moves. I like how that moves. All right. I'm going to call this pattern good. So let's go ahead and jeez, it's virtually invisible. Got that green going. Oh, that looks really cool like that. This is where it's supposed to be at, like in this environment. It sure doesn't pop out very much. But I don't think I want it to. I think I just want it to be a subtle color texturing that overlays this. Like, it's not important. It doesn't have. It's not supposed to stand out because it's not an environmental thing. The only two things that need to stand out is the environmental stuff, the Letharia and the Ivy, and both of those do. So these florets do not need to stand out profusely. So I can not worry myself with it. Let's see, where are we at? But yeah, this is successful. I like how this is doing. Let me. I'm going to drop away the playmat. I'm going to duplicate this layer here. Crystals are good. Varric is good. I'm gonna redo the Letharia as well. Similarly, I want to have a similar dispersion for the Letharia. Let's see. Acceptable. horizontal. Cool. All right, we're gonna let that sit. And now we need to do the same treatment to the Volpina. How are we doing on time? We got like 10 minutes left, so we're probably not gonna get the Volpina done today. But we can make valiant strides in the effort. Cool. All right, let's get into Lotharia. I want to similarly break up this pattern so it's creating similar paths and clumps. Without looking like a recurring pattern. Without looking like it's inside of a square. That horizontal plate feels good, but there also has to be verticality. Fight. Let's push this piece into the corner. And then we can take this whole structure here and drop it out a little bit. I bet that's going to look good. We've got these little paths that lead to the central points and to the corners. Maybe I want to pull these a little bit more like that. All right, so let's create a test environment for this. Let's see if it turns out looking as good as I hope. Duplicate. Test. Transform 180. I don't know, man. So far, so good. So what? Yeah, I know that diamond doesn't look very natural in the middle. So that's where it's at there, and then here. Thank you. Got just a few minutes left. So how do I want to do this? That feels really natural. I have to change this little prong. Let's try that instead. Let's try having it curve towards, and then we can get rid of that. Duplicate. Duplicate the hate. That doesn't look wrong. What I do need to do. Yeah, let's push this all the way into the corner. Come on, button. Still getting used to this keyboard. It's a hard time finding the enter button. This is looking really cool. That's pretty good. I think that's a decent pattern. I mean, I just replicated it and it doesn't look. You can see the pattern, but it's like it's not 100% recurring. I think that's a good pattern. Cool. All right, let's keep this. Bop, bop, bop. Drop this out of the test environment. And we'll come back with color tomorrow. So that's it for now, guys. I'm going to be on in about what is it, 8 o'clock now? I'll be on at 1 o'clock p.m. Seattle time. So that's in about 5 hours. We'll continue working on some subclass design work. Let's see, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue with this, and. And then tomorrow night we'll be doing Spelljammer stuff. And then Friday morning we'll do this. And then Friday lunch we'll do more martial powers, looking at the Ranger. And then Saturday is my workbench. I'm going to be doing some nautical adventure type stuff. For Kraken Week that's coming up, we're going to work with some alternate holding breath mechanics. And we're going to build a massive scale space kraken to attack the Citadel of Light and rock a brawl. So we're gonna have two little. Hopefully the water breathing won't have to be a few minutes long. I can get that built. Maybe I can get that built tomorrow night before I stream on Thursday, and then we'll have Saturday and some Sunday to get the Kraken challenge built. So. All right, hey, that's where we're at, guys. Like, subscribe, bell icon, check it out. If you think tiling and building recurring patterns like this is fun, definitely like and make a comment. And otherwise, I'll see y'all in about 5. Laters. Thanks a lot.